Welcome everybody, I'm Peter Haines. I would like to talk to you today about conduct training and the lessons learnt. We have been training on conduct rules for pretty much most of 2019 and 2020 so far. So I'd like to talk to you about our experiences from the front line, both on e-learning and face-to-face sessions. I'd also like to talk to you about a case study which has been quite special to us and to me, what I call the integrity case study. We'll talk through the results of that case study and some of the spoken reactions to the case study, and then we'll conclude and we'll talk about the usefulness of what we call our blended approach to conduct training. So in terms of experiences from the front line, what have we seen? We've provided conduct rules training to senior management function holders, SMFs, certified persons and conduct rules staff. We've had really good feedback on our e-modules on the conduct rules. These are available tailored modules for SMFs, for certified persons and for conduct rules staff. But beware, just because the implementation date for SM&CR has passed, it doesn't mean that these are no longer relevant. Transitional arrangements, of course, mean that all conduct rules training can, for conduct rules staff, be delayed until December 2020. So please remember, in addition, it's not just a one-off exercise. So we have time still to do the conduct rules training, but it's something that we have to look at probably on an annual basis henceforth. In terms of the face-to-face sessions, we've had some hugely interactive experiences with our clients. The important thing, of course, is that when we do this, we tailor our case studies to the people involved in those sessions. They've been extremely well received. The beauty of the face-to-face sessions on conduct is that you can really get people to think, as long as you develop case studies which again are pertinent to the context of people's business and sufficiently grey to provoke debate. There's one case study which is very close to my heart, and it goes like this. You're a certified person and deputy to the head of a department who is an SMF. You're told as part of your job that the firm is merging with another firm and at least 50% of the people in your department are going to be made redundant. Your best friend, who's a single parent with a disabled child, is one of those to be made redundant. They're about to purchase a new home with marvellous disabled facilities using all of their life savings. And they're banking on a decent bonus, possibly also a pay rise, at the end of the year. Now at this point I usually embellish the story a little bit, really to pull on the heartstrings. And then I ask the participants, simply, do you tell your friend? What are the results of this case study? If I do this with a show of hands to a dozen lawyers in a room, they all say, no, I won't tell my friend. The same with a dozen compliance officers in open hands. However, if I ask the lawyers or the compliance officers to vote privately through voting buttons or the post-it pad, I usually get one or two who say, yes, I will tell my friend. Everybody else, in a private vote, what I found is that between 20 and 35% of the people in the room say, yes, I will tell my friend, in a private vote. I had one client where we actually had 51%, 49 who said yes. Very interestingly, in 2 sessions, nobody at all spotted the potential inside information. Remember, we say in the case study about merging with a competitor. If that is inside information, because at least 1 or 2 of the firms is a quoted company, then that could be a breach of insider dealing legislation if you pass that information on to your friend. So what were the results and the reaction, the spoken reaction to this case study? We've had people say, well, I'll put a higher offer in on the house and then withdraw later on, which you can do under the laws of England, certainly at this stage. not necessarily in Scotland and other countries. Other people have said, well, surely everybody would tell their friend, wouldn't they? Other people said, I'd rather tell my friend and lose my job. One person said, my friendship is more important than my job. And one other person said, wow, I didn't spot the inside information or the potential inside information in the case study. Most importantly, though, whether people voted yes or no, everybody believes that they're acting with integrity. What I say to the people who've said yes is, I'd like to be your friend. However, what does it actually mean? Well, if you tell your friend, you'll be in breach of your contract of employment. Your contract of employment will say, inevitably, that if you receive confidential information, you have to respect the confidentiality of that information. And as I've already said, there's a danger of breaching insider dealing legislation if you tell your friend the specifics of the situation. So this demonstrates between 20 and 35% over at least 50 examples of using this case study, that in an identical set of circumstances, everybody believes that they're acting with integrity, but with quite different results. So this is why effective conduct rules training is so important. This case study shows that integrity can mean different things to different people in the same situation. Apply that to people's work, and what does it tell you? It tells you that integrity can be a very intangible concept. My colleagues will be talking to you about non-financial misconduct later in this webinar, but some of the results I've had when we've talked about racism, bullying, sexual misconduct, other examples of non-financial misconduct, people have said, well, hang on, is the regulator really interested in this stuff? Wow, I better be a little bit more careful in my private life as well as in my professional life. Should I be more careful how I behave on social media, perhaps? And one person said, how dare the FCA tell me how to behave in my private life? And one person said, can't we just all toughen up? Which was an interesting reaction. Those weren't the actual words that the person said, but they've been sanitized for this webinar. But all this demonstrates is that the FCA has opened the debate on non-financial misconduct. And these are the sort of questions that people are asking themselves. And these questions can come out through the effective use of conduct rules training. So to conclude, we believe that a blended approach, a combination of e-learning and face-to-face training is important, and especially for those higher risk customer-facing staff, people who have to make instant decisions with their customers about what they do in the market, etc. So we need to get people to think. We get them to think by using relevant case studies which are simply not too obvious that they just go, hey, of course, that's just so straightforward. So the outcome is that we need to get people to think, discuss where they can, and escalate. That's the message that we've been giving to senior management and staff at our clients. So that way, if people are unsure as to how to behave in a given situation, they can get assurance that their conduct is going to be appropriate to the circumstances.